Greetings to all. I hope you're doing fine. Kerry says, what a lovely surprise. Timely too. Thank you, Kerry. Ritesh says, hi, how are you? I'm very fine, Ritesh. Life has been a little busy. That's why I could not hold satsangs. But today I thought uh, I'll do a live. Papachi says, hello, good day. Hi. Hello, pranam to all of you. I'm here to talk to you all and feel free to ask or share anything. Hello, Roshan. Hi, Jay. Hi, Param. I hope I'm audible to all of you. If not, please let me know and I will try to improve the audio arrangement. Excuse me. Okay, I will try to be more loud. I hope this much is okay. I may need to move closer. I think this should be okay. My mic is for the phone is arriving next week, so I think it'll be much better then. So this is the best we have right now. I've been doing a lot of traveling for the past 3 4 days, and when I travel, I have amazing experiences. Not positive, all of them, but all kinds of experiences. I was in the mountains day before yesterday, and yesterday I had a trip to New Delhi, and it's always interesting to see new things, new places. Sometimes it is required because something new, something fresh, a change of scene for the eyes helps the mind. It's beneficial for the mind. Feel free to ask anything. Okay, what was your favorite part of the trip? Well, in the mountains, my favorite part was basically taking a stroll uh, in an area where I used to stroll with a friend of mine. And that was actually making me miss my friend a lot. The hill station is called Jabli, and me and my friend we used to walk there, and uh, we have some interesting memories of that place. So I was actually missing my friend, and also I was uh, looking at the sky. It was a little foggy and cloudy. I mean, the clouds were just on that port where I was walking. So that was the best part, and I recorded one talk there, talk about Jiddu Krishnamurti's teachings. So that was my favorite part of the trip. And rest of the time, I was sitting in the cafe in the mountainside, looking at the beautiful view and uh, enjoying the enjoying the beautiful scene and just writing, working, whatever I needed to do. That was the best part. Now, the second day in going to New Delhi was the opposite experience because it's crowded, it's cluttered, it's hot, humid, and it's very chaotic. But you get to experience both. You get to experience chaos and calm. So I would say that was equally interesting for me. All right, Nicola. Hello, Jagjot. It is great to make contact. I would love to hear about your process with giving satsangs and taking pauses. What are you facing? Well, pauses are just natural. Sometimes I just wait for something to come up in consciousness so that I can express. So I'm not very consciously aware of the pauses, it just happens spontaneously. And when a question is asked, I generally don't think about it or plan. Wait for I wait for the information to come to me. So it comes spontaneously, like packed in a bundle, and then the mind does the unfolding of the bundle. But the mind does not create the content right there. The content just comes. And that is why I say it's never my answer. It just comes, and whatever comes, I just express it just the way it has arrived without trying to modify or adding anything of my own there. I am good morning. Jay says, or your favorite experience should say. That's true though. If there wasn't chaos, we could we even appreciate peace? Don't think we would. Of course. I mean, the nature of chaos is also peace. You see, uh, even things that appear still, when we look at the subatomic structure, there's so much movement happening, which may feel like a chaos. So the masters say that peace has to be found in chaos. It is not outside of chaos. It's not a separate state. And sometimes just being in traffic and noticing everything arising in the traffic can actually bring about a sense of peace and understanding, which is far deeper than when you actually sit in the peaceful mountains and contemplate. Okay. I am says, why do I feel so connected? Hold on. Wait. Yes. Why do I feel so connected when I wake up and then go completely into personhood during the day. I know it's a habit and conditioning, but what can I do to remind myself about who I am? So when we get up in the morning, we have already experienced deep sleep, which is our most natural state. And when we get up, the aspect of witnessing still remains as the mind is not yet fully activated. So you see, in deep sleep, which is sushupti, the mind is completely inert. So mind is inert, and sense objects are also sensory instruments are also, the five senses are also inert. So there is experience of complete blankness, awareness completely unaltered, unmodified. That experience is still stronger, even though the I emerges the moment we get up, and with the I, everything else also emerges. But still, the mind is tied up to that aspect of pure witnessing or pure experiencing, because mind has not yet completely activated. Now, it is natural to go into the personhood. That is why the personhood is given to us, because it, for interaction, for life as we know, personhood is required. And there is nothing to be done as such other than to just remember who you truly are. You are the peace, you are that vast awareness, and just bring your awareness to this present. So even when the thinking is happening, and even when you're interacting with people, at some point you will find that you never lose this presence. So initially what will happen is you will feel that you have lost it, and then you will be reminded that the presence is here, and then you come back. Although this is all, this is how the mind interprets it. In actuality, you never lose it, because it is the ground. So just bring yourself here and now. Simply, just every time that happens, just bring yourself back. So never leave the sight of yourself, as the masters would say. That is uh, that is the idea here. All right. Aliska says, nice classes. Yeah, I'm getting old. Teeth falling off, eyes getting weaker. So, yes, it's happening. Age is catching up slowly. It gives me, it gives me the privilege of asking people favors, oh, do this for me, do that for me. Sometimes I'm lazy, and I'm like, I ask the younger fellows, oh, can you just do this for me? So there are certain benefits to aging, which I'm realizing now, because I was the one who used to run around and do things for the elders. Now I'm the one who's sitting here and ordering people to do the stuff for me. But yes, I mean, I've slowed down because most of the time it's just maintenance of the body, maintenance of the mind, most of this activity. Okay, Gizem is asking, hello Jagjot, could you please hold on. Yes. Could you please talk about involuntary movements appearing in the body during meditation? Yes. So now what you're talking about is the practice of meditation, which is sitting in a posture and quietening the mind. Now, movements generally happen during our normal courses also. It's just that when the mind is quiet in meditation, these movements, the physical movements, become more apparent. Now, there are in other traditions, spiritual traditions, there is a concept of the rapture experience in meditation, which feels very blissful, and I have experienced such raptures myself. So it's like when you are on the verge of a little bit of loosening of your focus and just merging into the vastness, you experience a sudden rupture, which gives you a sense of relief. So it's just basically the mind is quieting, and in that you are able to observe minor movements. So, it happens with the body. Body will continue to do its processes, even though mind has slowed down in meditation. So it's just that our observation is more during that period. The awareness is more because of the mind being quiet and there's no intrusive thinking happening. So we pay more attention. That's the only difference. Okay, Praveen says, how about you taking a retreat in Thiruvannamalai with us? We would love to join. Sir, more than bringing back myself to the present moment, I have found glimpse that there is no me. Help me. Perfect. So, if you can help me arrange, um if you can help me arrange a retreat in Thiruvannamalai, I would love to, because I have been to Thiruvannamalai. It's a beautiful place, and I think um, someone else also asked me about this, about holding a talk in Thiruvannamalai. So if any of you can get it arranged for me, because here's the thing with me, as you know, I am a lazy person. These things basically just overwhelm me a lot. So I will need your help in that. And if this can be done, I will be there, and we can definitely give a talk. And good to know about your experience. Once the glimpse is there, then ultimately it just goes, the understanding goes deeper and deeper, and what you ultimately notice is that the mind it starts to get quieter. Now initially the mind revolts a little bit, but that's a early phase. And eventually, as deliverance happens, mind gets even more and more quieter, and there's more beauty, there's more spontaneity, there's more childlike quality which emerges, which we thought we don't have anymore. Okay, Aliska says, well, at least good to know you know how to play the game of being oldie. Yes, that's actually quite childish of me. I'm actually quite childish. Okay, Roshan is asking, how would you connect to spiritual awakening practice and connection to source if you are strong religious believer of a particular religion? I get confused at time if I am on the right path. Well, you see, I don't, personally speaking, I don't believe in practices as such. From what I see, is that every moment is a moment, is an opportunity to basically connect with God. God, which is not an all-powerful entity sitting in manifestation. God as this animation, as this consciousness which is animating this entire reality. So, which means simply being here. So, I don't think that religion religion is not an obstruction in this path. One can have a religious inclination and still, be with themselves. In fact, what you will find is that when you're completely with yourself, your religious practices, for example, chanting, bhajan, kirtan, whatever you do, or japa, you will feel you will feel a sense of clarity in that, and you will see that your practices are bringing you more peace and more joy. So with this understanding, do the practices, and you will find a difference that those practices you will notice are now happening spontaneously. So there is true surrender in the practice, because most of the problem with people is that they try to use religion as a crutch. Everybody is just asking God, give me this, fulfill this wish, that wish. So even when they are doing practices like japa or meditation, at the back of their mind there is this story running, that I'm going to be here for you till you fulfill my criteria. I should get a good job, I should get good, you know good position in society, money, this, that, whatever is there in their mind. So when the surrender happens, when this clarity comes about, what they find is their consciousness expands. Now it doesn't they don't have to abandon the religion or religious practices. All they can do, the best they can do, is just integrate it with that, and simply move, simply go in that direction. Although I would say, with this understanding, your practice becomes more and more personal, which means that you may not like the gathering. You may start doing the practices in isolation. That may happen. There is no such thing as the wrong path. You're on the right path. Some things work for you, something do not work for you. It's just the mind giving you the illusion that you are on the wrong path. If you are here, you are on the right path. Okay, Tejan, where are you right now? Mohali, brother. I'm in Mohali. Same place. Okay. Lakshman, I had an experience in the middle of the road that the art is the artist, and I started laughing. It has been an year now. Does it get better? Gets better for whom? If art is the artist, that means, I would say, there is no artist, there is just art. You see? So when there is no artist, laughing is happening, wondering is happening, amusement is happening, but there is nothing to get worse or better. That's what I feel. Okay, Praveen says, I will try to arrange one retreat with some of my friends with you. Thanks a lot. Sure, Praveen, you can email me, and we can connect. If you would like, we can connect on the email and exchange information regarding that. Brian says childish. Oh yes, childish. I'm very childish. You know, in fact, I used to be very serious when I was working in my corporate job. For 10 years, I have been dead serious. Ultimately, I found that I'm dead, more or less, dead to life. So ultimately, a point came where I started living again with full vibrancy, with full vitality. That's when I knew what I had missed for the last decade. But yes, something had to be given up for that. So which I did give up certain comforts, certain amenities, certain privileges that comes with, a stable job, fixed salary, all those things had to be given up. So I gave up. And but I found peace, a lot of peace, which was sufficient for me. And ever since, my life has changed, and I've become more and more childish, which means more and more spontaneous, actually. So I speak what comes to mind, I say whatever comes to mind. If somebody gets upset, I apologize, and then I let them leave. If they want to come back, the door is always open. Okay, Krishna. Krishna says, Namaskar, sir. These days I sense I'm not responding correctly. I fear standing up. I fear conflicts. How they are going to react. Okay, from what I understand, this is about one on one interaction with another person. Okay, so it's a fear of conflict, that how other people are going to react. So, what needs to be seen here is that um, what is stopping me from expressing my authentic feelings to another person? Sometimes there may be a fear that I may be not heard, or my feelings may be dismissed, or uh, I may be, ridiculed. It can happen that way too. So sometimes so the undercurrent of all these things is basically fear. So one has to look at this fear. What is this fear? Where is it coming from? If one sits quietly with this fear, what you will find is that this fear comes from a place of limitation, a limited belief about oneself, that I am limited. I'm not good, or it can be that I am somehow very small. Now, this once you go past this fear and see your true nature, you experience an expansion, vastness. Then you realize that this vastness, this essence that is me, is also the other. So when it is me and the other, it is the same consciousness operating between the two. You start becoming more and more authentic, spontaneous, without worrying about what will the other person think. So usually we are trying to protect an image of myself. I have formed an image in my home, in my family, and society, and I'm just trying to protect that image. Or if I do this way, if I say these things, people may think less of me. So somewhere there is that fear associated around that image. Once it is seen that that image is not the reality of your existence, it is just an appearance which is, coming up every now and then. What is reality is the light that is illuminating that image, and that light remains untouched. So, your essence is unbrokenness, it is untouched. So, nothing can disturb that. I mean, this is what has been mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita also. Your essence is indestructible. So, the only thing is to recognize that essence of yours, and then there will be no fear about there will be no fear about confrontation. There will be no worry about, you will say whatever you feel like saying, and that will change that changes the interpersonal dynamic also. All right, Ishan says, I have been writing an unfinished letter to you in my head since month. I recently put some stuff on paper on my recent trip to Thailand. Hopefully I finish this letter soon. Okay, awesome. And send me the letter. I would love to read what you've written. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So Carrie saying, do you answer questions via email? Yes, I do answer questions via email. Now the thing is, sometimes it takes me long time to respond. So I just tell everyone, just give me 15-20 days to respond, because sometimes there are a lot of questions, and it's difficult to now if the question is something which I feel will be valuable for others, I create a video around it, video response. If it's a short question, I try to just answer it right there. That I may answer faster, but give me at least 10-15 days to respond. uh, but yes, I do answer. Sometimes some questions get missed because of the you know uh, because of the volume. In that case, just remind me again, that I sent you this question, you have not responded, just wanted to let you know, and I will get back to it. Jay, okay, Jay says, my sister just straight out told me yesterday I am such a child. We all are children. Actually, we all are children. We behave like grown ups. There's no such thing as a grown up. We are all children. We behave like children. So I think she's not wrong. Okay, Anju says, good evening. How do you walk for 4 or 5 hours? Okay, this is my favorite part. From 2 to 7, sometimes even more. I walk a lot. Uh, Now, it's not that I walk continuously. I take breaks in between. I lie down for a couple of minutes here and there. Sometimes I put on a TV and watch something if something interesting is there. Now, there are 1 or 2 days where I watch, old Hindi movies or old classic English classics. Whatever I got. I don't watch the uh, modern day cinema because I think it's too violent. It doesn't give me very good feeling. So I like to watch the old classics. So yes, I do that sometimes. But yes, my walk schedule is quite long now. It's become a habit because I've been doing it for now about 4 or 5 years. From 2 a.m. to 7 a.m., I'm mostly walking and just with my thoughts. Now, if something comes up, um, in between I attend to it and then I again get back to routine. So it's not continuous. I take breaks. I have tea in between, sometimes snacks. By 5:30 I have my dinner, and after that it's done for me. Sometimes I make a smoothie at night if I feel hungry, but that's after 8. So that's my routine. So that's the way I do it. So it's not a continuous walk, but yes, it's something which has become a routine now. It started with 1 hour and now it's extended to 5-6 hours. Well, I came to know that even Ramesh ji used to walk a lot. In fact, he would do japa and he would walk for hours. And I think walking is a good habit as we age, because mobility keeps the joints and body well. Okay, Jay is talking about her sister. She says it's extra funny because she's my younger sister and I just turned 43 on Tuesday, on Thursday, and have 3 kids of my own. Lol, stay childish friends. Well, there are children, then there are grown-up children. So we are the grown-up children, but we are children. Sometimes we get good lessons from our younger ones. I mean, I have learned a lot from my children, and it is amazing the level of awareness they have. We may think we are wiser, but you see, we got to learn spontaneity from them, because a child's mind is not that conditioned, it's so spontaneous. Our minds are conditioned, you know. We are so scared of how we should behave, what we should wear, what we should eat, what we should speak in front of others. Look at children; they're so spontaneous. They will be talking to one person, then they'll fight with that person, again go back to another. They've another friend, then again come back to the same person. It just, you know, they don't carry anything internally. It's all spontaneity. My children would fight with their friends and then again play with the same. So today they are friend, tomorrow again they are. But we grown-ups, we we get a little caught up in those games, and we are like, okay, this is my friend, this is not my friend, which is fine too, but yeah. Okay. Ritesh, can you give your number? No. I'm so sorry. I do not like to share my phone number because, uh, first of all, it won't be of much use. I generally keep my phone, most of the times, it is not even with me. And half of the time, it is on mute mode because when I'm walking, I don't like my phone around. So I'm wearing headphones and it's connected to my laptop, and I'm either listening to music, or sometimes I listen to talks from masters. So I don't even attend, that much. So actually, you can reach out to me on email, and you can, in the subject line, you can write urgent if it's an urgent matter, and I will try to respond as early as possible. Eliska, okay, Eliska says, I think you never actually responded to my email, but you know what? It was actually a good thing because I figured it out and then felt great about it. Yes. Okay, this happens sometimes. I do miss out on some emails because of the volume, but uh, the intention is not to, like, I do not want anybody to think that I'm purposely trying to avoid anyone, or don't think that their question is worthy to be answered. It's not like that. The only thing is that sometimes I just miss it. Sometimes it lands up in my spam folder, and when I check the spam, I actually find some questions there. I try to answer each and every email. The only thing is that life is right now, it's been too hectic for me with all this traveling. Some of it was leisure, some of it was work. It's Sometimes it really gets difficult. I will. You can always remind me. You can tell me that this is an email that I would like your opinion on. But I'm glad that you figured it out, because that is actually that's actually best, because now you have your own experience. You have verified it with your own experience, which is ultimately what I want for you. Okay, Lakshman says, what's your diet plan? Right now my situation is, uh, whatever I get is fine. So, um, my mother basically prepares my food, and I enjoy whatever I get. So I don't refuse anything. And when I go out to basically to places, mountains, there also I try to make the best out of what I have. So I enjoy having tea. Tea is my favorite, and other than that, just desi food is fine for me. Roti, chawal dal, and sometimes I have non-vegetarian. It's very infrequent. It's not very frequent, but sometimes. But other than that, it's all flexible. So that is it basically. Okay, I am says, it feels recently that the more the eye is exposed and seen as the driver of this body, and the more tense my body becomes, and that results in exhaustion. Is this all mind, or how can I relax into this? Well, anything that is causing tension in the body is related to mind, is somehow mind trying to figure out something. So to relax is just let the mind loose and do its job, whatever it's trying to do, and then just bring yourself back here, in this presence. There are no practices as such. But yes, with this concept, the teachings that talk about non-doership, which I will get into uh, in a in a separate lecture, because it's going to take a lot of time. All these things will help relax the mind, because ultimately when the old associations are broken, then the mind gets more freer. As the mind gets more freer, it gets more relaxed. Chitu Krishnamurti would say, don't try to set your house in order using meditation. First, set the house in order, and then allow the meditation to happen spontaneously. Okay, Mary says, hi there, Jagjot. How do you deal with serious disability and illness? Well, one thing is, do your best, whatever you can, and ultimately, acceptance is the only thing that brings relief. This is what I've seen. Because till one fights it anxiously, the quality of life, whatever life is remaining for that person, whatever the mind is spinning up for that person, it just, the quality of life actually is, um, it's it's reduced because of the thinking that happens around disability, not the actual disability. But the moments of pain will always be there. Unfortunately, that cannot be, you cannot do anything about that. So if an illness happen, if a serious disability happen, if for so many years I've had this chronic pain. Now I know it's not a serious disability, but it's a chronic back pain I would experience for almost 20 years. And it would just paralyze me, not letting me, do anything for a week. It would happen repeatedly. Now, the moment I made my peace with it, I accepted it. That's it. It's here. And it started actually. The spasm started to go away. Now, again, the soreness and the discomfort happens sometimes, and it is accepted. Whenever it happens, I just slow down and relax. But again, if I fight it, if I think too much about it, if I'm like, if I'm just creating constant dialogues in my mind about it, what is simple imprisonment becomes rigorous imprisonment. That's the only difference. So yes, I think acceptance is the only way to deal with something serious like that. Kamal says, do you believe in premonitions or precognitions and visions that come true? And what does spirituality say about it? Well, I don't know what are premonitions and precognitions. If you can give me an example, I think it'll help me understand. Okay, Dominic says, hey Jagjot, thanks for this. How do you find a balance between striving, example for jhanas, to deepen the practice, and resting, surrendering? So basically, I'm not striving. The striving is finished somehow. I'm just being very open and very, I wouldn't say focused, but aware of what is happening. So my job has been considerably reduced because of this understanding. Earlier, it was like, do this, do that, try to achieve this, try to achieve that. But then I'm just teaching my mind new tricks. And ultimately, what I noticed is that mind, no matter how much you train it to be quiet, will not be quiet unless you get to the root of what is driving this discomfort. So once you get to the root of what is driving the discomfort, and what are the patterns that are emerging as a result, which means you have to give it total attention. Total attention is effortless attention, which means that I'm not changing the content or modifying what is being seen. I'm simply being present. So total presence is effortless. It does not require striving. Striving comes into picture when I think that I have to attain a certain goal, I have to become a certain way. Then I strive. So for me, it's just spontaneously. If I feel like doing a practice and I enjoy, sometimes it is joyful, sometimes it is not joyful. So both outcomes are accepted. Okay, Carrie says, I have energy negative stuck in the body. I feel, see it now. Do I wait for the awareness to dissolve, move the energy, or are these things I can do to facilitate, or both? It is worst in the morning. So I would say, do whatever you think you should do. Don't wait for anything. If you feel that you need to move, you need to stretch, you need to do some breathing, or anything that comes to your mind, always do that, because never assume. uh, of course, it is the awareness that does the job, but sometimes awareness happens through the practice. So we can never say, I never discourage anybody from any practice. If you feel, listen to yourself. If you get this feeling, okay, in the morning, that I must do something today, then by all means do it. It may not help that much, but even if it brings you some relief, that is fine. But yes, ultimately, it's the awareness which does the job. But awareness is not in our control. Awareness happens, and it has its own will, its own energy, its own direction. So it will not work according to how we want it to work. Awareness requires surrender. The more surrender we have, the more it flows effortlessly, without obstructions, and more it is effective. That's what I would say. Okay, Ritesh says, can you watch your mind in the most chaotic state? Well, you see, it is because of the watchfulness that I know that the mind is chaotic. If the awareness, if the watchfulness was not there, I would not know. You have to be apart from something to know that as an object of your experience. If you are one with something, you cannot know. If thought was all you were, if you were just thinking, you would never know anything beyond thinking. But since there is a watchfulness to thinking, there is a light shining awareness to thinking, that reveals the thinking, reveals the awareness, your true nature, that way. So it is possible for all of us to actually watch our mind state. Okay, Typher says, hey, uh, just saying hi cause I have things to do, but I wanted to send warm regards to everyone. Hi, Typher. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful message. I am says thank you. You're most welcome. Okay, I think I missed one question. I'm just going to. Is dark night of the soul a real thing? Did you go through it? If yes, how long it took for you to come out of it? Dark night of the soul is a concept. You know, now for many people, I would say almost for all people, The process that happens is that there is a crack, okay, crack in the structure of the personality. How this crack happens, when it happens, is not in our control. It's the awareness which decides. But it happens. And the moment that crack happens, it is usually, it, it you know, what usually follows is a lot of pain and discomfort, because your whole build up to that point, I am this, I am that, I need to achieve this, I need to achieve that, has now been cracked. So you don't find any meaning in anything in this world. You see the hypocrisy, you see the dualistic nature of life. You can see that anything that you desire will come with the opposite, with the unhappiness. You cannot separate it. So the mind revolts, because mind is attached to its own ideas. I must do this, I must do that. You see? And that is where this confusion happens. Sometimes you feel absolutely blissful, other times you feel absolutely painful. That is what we call in concept as the dark night of the soul. Now, yes, I went through that phase of confusion where there was seeking, longing, where there was this desire to know the truth, to basically bring myself more stability, more calm. I went through that phase. In that wanting to bring stability and calm, I was actually burdening my mind with more and more thinking, because I was trying to think my way into becoming a better practitioner in order to, create uh, a still mind. But then eventually, the reality that I experienced was that the mind's liberation is not in its stillness, it's not in stopping the thoughts. Its liberation is understanding that the nature of thought is stillness. And this understanding is an impersonal understanding. It is recognition which gets into your core, into your being. If you try to stop thoughts, it is futile, because it's just going to run more and more. So for me, this period probably lasted for about 6 7 years, probably six, for probably 5 6 years, I would say. From 2015 to 2019, it was intense. And then at some point, the seeking just stopped, and there was lightness, and there was no need, no seeking, no yearning for anything, no longing for anything, and simply living. It just happened, it dropped. So it is, but for me, it is difficult to say how long it takes for another person, because that is awareness's job. That's not my job. Okay. Okay. Bodhi says, "Good morning, Jagjot. I saw something as you were talking, that some of the mind's content has shifted to helping." Okay. Some of the mind's content has shifted to helping. Well, yes, I think that is there. If that is happening, do that. That's beautiful. So I'm sure it's a natural, spontaneous thought that came to you. And if it has come to you, then do help. There is this path of karma yoga, nishkam karma. The action, the activity without anticipation of reward, the selfless action, nishkam karma, which you can, which is actually again path to wholeness. It's one of the paths to wholeness. Okay, Lakshman says, does both effort and luck matter, or both matter after awakening? You see, the main question is, to whom do they matter? This idea of something mattering to someone is itself the impediment. Because again, our mind has created this identification that if I put effort in a certain way, by the stroke of luck, I may get that. But here's the thing, it is not in our control. We cannot figure it out. We can try effort, but ultimately, it will happen when it's destined to happen. When this understanding happens, then it happens spontaneously. The moment this understanding comes about, which means the moment true surrender happens, the truth gets revealed spontaneously. Okay, Eliska says, I liked how Dr. R. Hawkins called Dark Night of the Soul, dark night of the ego, because darkness is all the ego sees. But then at one point it falls and turns into love. Yes, that is true. In fact, this confusion, this flip flop happening, sometimes pleasure, sometimes pain, sometimes clarity, sometimes confusion, this is all ego's vision. And ego's vision is never stable because ego itself is unstable. So at some point, you know, you just see the light, and in that uh, the sense of separation dissolves. I won't say that the ego is killed. Ego still is still there, but now it's restorated. Now it's just subdued, and it remains at the functional restorative level, where it's used for the purpose that it was created, for daily interactions, for taking care of the mind body organism. That's it. It's not bothered about expanding, attaining, achieving, becoming, unbecoming. All those stories are dissolved. So that brings peace. Okay, Anamika says, I keep getting frustrated by why I can't stop this vicious cycle. Then I remember you telling me I was never in control. Remembering this eases so much burden. Exactly. This is the whole idea. If you remember this, that you are not in control, you don't have to control anything. That itself starts bringing order to thinking, you know. So it is, I mean, thank God that we are not in charge, because, our mind is not the best judge as to how to go about this. So, in that way, it is grace of God that the awareness does the job. And to have this idea, and to have this belief, to have this faith that awareness does the job, awareness will do the job whenever it's required, is surrender. So it will bring peace. So your job is just to be, to be present. That's it. Rest will be done. Nicholas says, can I just relax? Of course. Relaxation is your nature. Restfulness is your nature. Just tune into this right now here. You know, just tune into this, be totally present to this, and observe whatever is happening, and you will experience relaxation. Okay. All right. We will conclude in a minute or two. Anamika says, my life would be so much better if I could just stop unnecessary efforting. It aggravates my chronic pain symptoms a lot. It will happen when it's destined for you. Now, you see, actually, uh, yes, this thinking is related to chronic pain. And I think I've had it for 22, almost 20 years, I would say. So it took me 20 years for, and even now I do get soreness here and there, but it's not, it doesn't affect me in that manner as it would affect me back then. So So I sincerely hope, I wish that, uh, your symptoms get better and you get more clarity on this. Okay, Kamal says, were there any other triggers for us for your dark night of the soul apart from your father's death? Well, my father's death was not the trigger for the dark night of the soul. My father's death was basically an insight. It brought about an insight. Um and I wouldn't even say insight. It brought about this curiosity about what life is, what consciousness is. But ultimately, at one point, when I was fighting with life, I was fighting with people. I understood that, uh, I just felt a sense of lightness. Something happened, I felt a sense of lightness, and that changed the whole perception. And there I observed the crack, the crack happening and mergence with everything. And in that, basically, after that, basically, the dark night of the soul happened because my mind was still fragmented. When it came back, it was still fragmented. So to assimilate that, or not assimilate, for its assimilation to happen, it took a little bit time. So that was the way it was unfolding for me. Okay. uh, Dr. Pizza says, I'm spiritually inclined and do meditation, watch videos about Advaitam, and I try to understand it scientifically because I believe in it and I am from the science background. Well, that's interesting. That's nice. Okay, Bodhi says, thank you, but then it starts to judge me for not getting quiet. Okay, you're talking about the mind. So first it is quiet, and then it starts. When the dialogue starts, it starts judging me for not getting quiet. It's hysterical, funny sometimes, sometimes a downer. So this is just a part of the process. It is natural. Yes, it is all part of the process. It is all very natural. You see, the mind is tricky. In the moment the thinking is happening, you completely lose yourself to thinking. It is at that moment that the thinking is happening. The mind comes up later and says, you should not be thinking. You should not think like this. These are good thoughts, these are bad thoughts. That's the real thing which creates suffering. But in the moment, if something happens, if you experience a feeling, a sensation, that is just pure sensation, pure experiencing. It's the dialogue which comes later on that I should not experience this, which creates the trouble. But yes, it is part of the natural process. So this dialogue subsides as we, get to realize our nature in depth. This again starts fizzling out. So Dr. Pizza says, but sometimes I do mistake. I punish myself from doing things that do not align with my soul, like stopping meditation, eating, non-smoking, drinking. But sometimes I do mistake. I punish myself from doing things that do not align with my soul, like stopping meditation, eating non. Okay, probably you meant eating non-veg, smoking, drinking. You see, this is all mind's game. I must eat right. I must not do this, not do that. Anything that is happening is just happening, you know. And the more you fight it, the more the urges increase. Try to, if you feel that it's harming your health and it's harming your mind, do whatever you feel you should do. If you feel that you need to cut down smoking or eat more healthy, do that. But you see, the moment you fail in between, don't believe the mind when it says you're not good enough because you couldn't follow through. That is the trick of the mind. Let it happen, let the failures happen. These things are very, there is no easy answer. And if you are caught up between right and wrong, moral, immoral, it's just gonna be a lifelong battle. Let it happen organically, naturally. To what extent it happens, just sometimes you will find the urge is more, sometimes less. This is life. Okay, Lakshman says, so is everything personal or nothing is personal? Well, I don't understand the question. If you are asking about doership, then every action, according to the concept, is that it is a happening, not individual doing. So everything is impersonal in that way. Okay. Okay, Dr. Pizza again says, how do I stop doing this punishing myself and not lose my path? Just be. See what is happening. Observe. Observe your mind. See the tricks it is playing. See how it is bringing up dialogues which are creating shame, guilt, and all these emotions. Do not fight. Pay more attention to the content, like whatever content is coming up, without judging yourself. At some point, you will realize it's a mind trick, and then there will be no punishing. See, in this path, one has to practice a lot of self compassion. If you're not kind to yourself, you will never be kind to others, and you will not find peace. First is yourself. You have to be very compassionate towards yourself. So instead of thinking about these so perceived flaws, because the society says they are flaws, try to understand that this is happening. It has been brought about because of certain conditioning that took in your life, that took place in your life. Some of which, in fact, all of which you never had any control over. Where you were born, how were your parents, how was your schooling, what people you met, what challenges you had to go through in life to be at this point where you are today. It's all brought about. It's not that you personally did anything. If you understand this simple thing, then there will be no punishing. Okay, I think we will conclude for today, and if I have left any question, you can email me, or we can continue next time. Thank you all for being there, and I will take your leave now as it's a bit late and I have to rest too. And uh, I wish you all peace, happiness. Take good care of yourself.